All right, here's a couple of questions where we're asked to complete the square to solve. So for this first one, um, you've isolated the m squared and the m. That's good, and you put the other number to the other side. Good. So then you have to take the 9 over 2, and you have to divide it by 2, and then square it. It's sort of awkward that it's a fraction like that. So if I have negative 9 over 2 divided by 2, that's the same thing as negative 9 over 2 times by 1/2. So really, it'll be negative 9 quarters, and then I have to square that. So I square the top, it becomes 81. I square the bottom, it becomes 16. And you had 64 there. So you had the 81 right, but the 64 was out. Okay, so we should have then m squared minus 9 halves m plus 81 over 16 is equal to 3 halves that is there already. And then if I add 81 to 16th on this side, I have to do the same thing on the other side. If it's on the same side, you would subtract, but if it's on the other side of the equal sign, then you'd do the same thing. Add on one side, add on the other. So on the left side, now I've got m minus, and it's whatever 9 halves is divided by 2 before you square it. So it's the answer to this piece before you do the squaring. So it'd be minus 9 over 4. Okay, so minus 9 over 4, all squared. That's what this factors into, is equal to, and now we can add this. That'd be 824 plus 81 over 16, I think. Let me just figure out what that is. M minus 9 quarters squared is equal to, well, that'd be 105 over 16. Okay, so now I've got something squared is equal to another number, so I can use the square root principle. So I'll square root this side. I can do that as long as I square root this side and include that plus or minus. So on the left side, left with m minus 9 quarters is equal to, on the right side, I'm going to square root both top and bottom separately. So I'll have a plus or minus square root of 105 over the square root of 16. I do that just because I can take the square root of 16. So then it'll be m is equal to 9 quarters. So I added 9 quarters on both sides. I'll take that to the other side. Plus or minus square root of 105 over square root of 16 is 4. So it'll be 9 plus or minus a root of 105 all over 4. Now 105, I don't think you can, I think that's 26 times 5, or 13 times 2 times 5. Yeah, there's no any of those perfect numbers that'll divide evenly into that. So that's probably where I'd leave the answer for that one. Okay, here's another one. So if they're wanting you to solve by completing the square, your first step is you need to take that 4 and move it to the other side. You've done this correctly that you divide the 10 by 2 and then square it. So this is what I do. X squared minus 10x. I'm going to move the 4 to the other side. So is equal to a positive 4. Then divide the 10 by 2, that's 5. Squared, it's 25. So if I add 25 on this side, I'm going to add 25 on that side. So this part here is right. And then on the left side, whatever this is divided by 2 before you square it, that's what it gets put in right there. So negative 10 divided 2 is a negative 5. That's where this negative 5 comes from, squared. So that's what this turns out if you were to factor it, is equal to 29. Then we'll use a square root principle with a plus or minus. So on the left side, left with x minus 5. On the right side, I'm left with the plus or minus square root of 29. And then I'll add 5 on both sides. And so that's what I would get for that question. I'm not sure if that's the exact same thing that you had on when you sent for your answers, but That's what I get. All right, hopefully that helps you with those questions.